Hello, my name is Dr. Yaya Sissoko. Today we are going to talk about Chapter 21, Optimization, what the consumer chooses. So optimization, part 1. What is the optimum? Optimum is a point where the indifference curve and the battery constraint touch. It's a point where indifference curve and battery constraint are tangent. It's the best combination of good available to the consumer. So the slope of the indifference curve equal to the slope of the battery constraint at the optimum. The marginal rate of substitution is the relative price of the two goods. Figure number 6 display the consumer optimum. So the consumer chooses the point on a battery constraint that lie on the highest indifference curve. So at this point called the optimum, the marginal rate of substitution equal to the relative price of the two goods. So here the highest indifference curve the consumer can reach is I2. You can see that that's I2 because at this point here, which is the optimum, so the budget constraint, is tangent with the indifference curve right here, or cross or touch the indifference curve. So this point will be the optimum point. The consumer, however, the consumer would prefer point A, which lies on indifference I3, but she cannot afford this bundle of pizza and Pepsi. You can see that the consumer prefer point A, which is on higher indifference scale I3, but she cannot afford that point because there is no, but she cannot, allow her to consume at on I3, the difference to I3. By contrast, point B is affordable. Point B is on I1, but on the lower indifference curve, the consumer does not prefer it because I1 is lower than I2, then consumer would prefer, so this point, the optimal point and point B. So optimization part 2. So higher income means that the consumer can afford more of both goods. So with income going up or increasing, this will shift the budget constraint outward, to the right. So it will lead to new optimum. So normal good on the other end are good for which an increase in income raise the quantity demanded. For instance, car is a normal good, so new car is a normal good, used car would be an inferior good. Flying would be a normal good, traveling by bus, would be an inferior good. Figure 7 display an increase in income. Before the increase of the income, so the initial optimum is at this point where the budget line, the blue line cross. So the initial, uh, indifference curve I1 at this point. So with an increase in income, this will shift the budget line constraint outward from the blue line to the red line, which is the no budget constraint. So this will raise pizza consumption. So you can see that the consumer can consume more pizza. It also will raise the consumption of Pepsi. So this will lead to a new optimum right here. So the new optimum will be on higher indifference curve I2. So you can see that when income rises, the budget constraint shift outward. If both good are normal good, so the consumer respond to the increase in income by buying more of both good. So here the consumer will buy more pizza and more Pepsi. So on the other end, inferior goods are goods for which increase in income reduces the quantity demanded. Example of an inferior good would be used car or public transportation. When you make more money, so you are less likely to use public transportation and you are less likely to buy a used car. When the price of one good falls, this will rotate the budget constraint outwards. So the slope becomes steeper and then there will be a change in the relative price. So there will be two kind of effect. So the income effect, which is you feel wealthy because price is down, like you have more money, you can buy more of the good. There is also a substitution effect because you when the price go down, you buy more of the cheaper good in that sense. Figure number 8 is display an example of inferior goods. So if there is an increase in income, the budget line would shift outward from the blue line to this line here to the red line, which is a no budget constraint. And then, so this will raise pizza consumption, making pizza a normal good. You can see that if you look at the initial optimum right here, this much of pizza will consume and that much of Pepsi was consumed. So here at the new optimum, so what is on the higher indifference curve compared to I1, so there is more pizza consumed. So, but Pepsi consumption for making Pepsi an inferior good, Pepsi consumption fall from this point to this point right here in that sense. So, and so when the consumer income increases, the budget constraint shift upward, and the consumer buy more pizza and less Pepsi. Figure 9 display a change in the price. So a fall in the price of Pepsi rotate the budget constraint outward. You can see that when Pepsi price fall, so the budget constraint on the y-axis will just shift out right here. There is no change for the one of pizza. This would reduce the consumption of pizza and raising the Pepsi consumption. So, because from the initial optimum right here, so this much of Pepsi was consumed and that much of pizza was consumed. But with the rotation of the budget constraint, now the new optima is it's on the higher indifference curve, so right here I2, which is higher than I1. So you can see that the consumption of pizza fall to this level, and then the consumption of Pepsi increases to this level in that case. So the consumer, in this case, the quantity of Pepsi consumed rises and the quantity of pizza fall. So the change in the income effect is due to the change in consumption when the price move, the consumer to the higher or lower indifference curve. So the consumer would feel healthier, with the price when the price drop and buy more of that good if it's the normal good. So on the other hand, the substitution effect is the change in consumption, due to a price change, move the consumer along an indifference curve to a point with a new marginal rate of substitution. So there is no rotation, but that change right here will move along the indifference curve to a new marginal rate of substitution. Table 1 display the income and substitution effect when the price of Pepsi fell. So Pepsi, we have two good, Pepsi and pizza. The income effect when the price of Pepsi fall will lead to a consumer is richer, and so she buy more Pepsi. So the consumer is richer, so she buy more pizza. So with the substitution effect, Pepsi is relatively cheaper, so consumer buy more Pepsi. Pizza is relatively more expensive, so consumer buy less pizza. The total effect at the end will be income and substitution effect act the same in the same direction, so that consumer buy more Pepsi. Here, in the case of pizza, the income and substitution effect act in the opposite direction, so the total effect on pizza consumption is ambiguous. So figure number 10 summarize the income and substitution effect. We can see that the effect of a change in the price can be broken down into income effect and substitution effect. The substitution effect is a movement along the indifferent curve to a point with a different marginal rate of substitution as shown from change from point A to point B along indifferent curve I1. In this case, I1 to move from point A here to point B with higher consumption for Pepsi and lower consumption here for pizza. On the other hand, the income effect is the shift to a higher indifference curve as shown for a change from point B indifference curve I1 to point C indifference curve I2. So you move from point B here, which is on lower indifference curve I1 to point C, which is a new optimum higher indifference curve. Driving the demand curve, we will start with the quantity demanded of a good for any given price. We look at the initial optimum point with the initial price of the good and the initial quantity of the good. And then we look also at the change of the price of the good, the new price, which will lead to new optimum, and new optimum quantity. Figure 11, to display deriving the demand curve. Panel A talk about the consumer optimum, where the price of Pepsi fall from $2 to $1, and the consumer optimum move from point A to point B, where quantity of Pepsi consumed rises from 250 to 750 liter. With the price fall, so consumer will consume here at 250, and then we move to 750 with the decrease in the price of Pepsi. So from point A to point B, which is on I to move from I on I2, from I1 to I2. So on the other hand, panel B, display the demand curve for Pepsi. So at lower prices, at higher prices, $2, so consumer will buy 250 liters, so that will be point A. So at lower prices, consumer will consume 750, that will be point B. So you can see that the point A will be reflected by this point, which is on lower indifference curve. Point B will be reflected by this point, which is on higher indifference curve.